Welcome to the ultimate ninja smoking challenge. Guys, this one's crazy. Every single time you see a stick man smoking these videos, you have to do it too. Alright, let's get into it. This is gonna be crazy. At one point, we've all consumed more substances than we can take and lost some sort of bodily function. Whether that's the loss of literal control over your body or the loss of your mind, so you just act on all of your primal monkey thoughts, either way, something is lost. So even if this story is the highest I've ever been, if you've watched me for long enough, you'll know that the only thing that I lose is my shame. I have an ability to hard body substances without ever dropping. So, at least originally, this night was going to be planned as a mushroom trip between me, Roman, Adam, and Roderick. And I'll just skip the scene setting because I know you just want to see the drugs. So me and Roman pick up 6 grams of shrooms, stop by the Holy Land for snacks, arrive at Adam's luxurious estate, and get inside to prepare for the Ninja content farm. Also, Cameron was there too, so let's not forget about him. Round of applause for Cameron, although he was going to be sober and exclusively doing homework on his MacBook this night. So you got the stuff, my brethren? Yeah, bro, I got it right here. Let's just bust this bad boy open. We got gypped, and the plug only gave us 4 grams. So the 4 of us ended up only eating 1 each. Right after eating these mushrooms, Adam, Roderick, and Roman ran off to probably smoke, but me, I'm more reserved than that. I made the respectable decision to stay back and help Cameron with his homework. And it wasn't because I like him or anything. So me and him bust through a good chunk of these questions until these words start to become a little hard to read. And these mushrooms are making my belly feel a little queasy. Those 3 goons that left before bust through the door and instantly and simultaneously start explaining how the mushrooms feel to Cameron for some reason. It's really cool, bro. It makes me feel really cool. Yeah, it's awesome, bro. It feels superfluously awesome. It makes me feel alive. It makes me want to take someone's life. In between my upset tummy and the juxtaposition from solo Cameron time, it felt like I got punched. Boys, I want to do homework right now. Frick you, bro. Fuck off, bro. What are you talking about? I was being bullied. You know what? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Oh my god. Despite us all having just 1 gram each, they were enough. These were some strong guys. As I had that moment to myself and overcame the queasy, I left the bathroom and everyone was gone. Although, I heard faint music from the porch. As I walked out, I see these 4 are smoking a big dog style cigar in the snow outside, and Cameron was making beats in Logic Pro. Ooh, there's the big homework, baby. What'd you do in the bathroom, bro? Put a diaper on? Did you put a diaper on in the bathroom? Fug homework, bro. Check this out. This was my snapping point. My friends were relentlessly bullying me, and I had to do something now to redeem the great ninja name I was known for. Give me that cigar, boys. Check this out. Damn, bro, you're not supposed to inhale it. This didn't exactly hit the way I thought it would, but in this moment, a shining opportunity presented itself. Who wants weed, boys? So all of us, minus Cameron, scurry our little feet downstairs, into the garage, and hop in Adam's classic weed Porsche. Adam pulls out the big dog bong, and I knew this was the time. This was the moment I would fully redeem my stained legacy and go down a legend. I got handed the bong first, and as I held it, all my memories flashed through me like visions. When Roderick called me a homework baby, when Roman said I wore diapers, it would all be sanctified in this moment. I lit up, and as I'm sucking on this bong, I don't let go. I take the biggest bong rip of my life until my lung capacity can't take a single more milliliter of smoke. As I exhaled, the entire car is filled with smoke, and I'm coughing like Walter White. This shit hurted. Afterward, I just lay down in the back of the car while my body recovered. The bong was passed around a few rotations, but I couldn't take any more, so I just waited until we all finally got out. And once I stood up, I realized how high I was. So as we all stumble back to the bedroom, I go up to Cameron and I ask him, "Bro, let me see the laptop, bro." I had a golden joke cooking. I sit down with Roman in an attempt to open Google Images, search for Patrick Bateman, and my joke was gonna be that I said that was Cameron doing his homework. But I only got to search Patrick in the search bar before I hit enter, which brought up Patrick's star, which had this image from an Amazon link to a Funko Pop that the two of us found a lot funnier than the original joke would have been. But then I took it further by clicking on the image, bringing me to Amazon where I bought it. I bought the Funko from Cameron's laptop on his account with his card and shipped it to his parents' house. I was on fire. I was in my element here. Then Adam brings out the vodka and I'm chugging that thing like a Division I football player. Then Adam brings out the canned wine and I'm chugging those things like a Division I football player. I had completed the holy trinity of substances: earth, water, fire, but I was missing air. And I don't normally do this, but I start ripping Roderick's vape. And with all these substances combined into me, I was just like Avatar Aang. I guess my mind was still on SpongeBob because I really wanted Cameron to play the outro song from SpongeBob on his MacBook. But the video Cameron brought up wasn't just the SpongeBob outro. It was, I put the SpongeBob outro over the end of humanity. And as soon as this video came up, I had another golden bit to come to me. One that would even top the Funko Pop one. Cameron, hold your laptop up so that everyone can see. Boys, this video is something I've worked very hard on over the past few years, and I'm so happy to finally have it come to fruition. You didn't make that, bro. That's a YouTube video. They want you to believe that. But let me continue. As you know, my YouTube channel has grown at an extremely fast rate recently, and I wanted to celebrate the monumental achievement of 200,000 subscribers with a celebration that's fitting. So I've planted 200,000 bombs across New York City, and what you're seeing now is live drone footage broadcasted from my channel. But it's not just New York. The more subscribers I get, the more bombs I plant, until even we are engulfed by fire and explosion. It's just my way of saying thank you for all of the support I've received thus far. As you can imagine, that bit killed it. I could confidently say that my name was saved from the disaster of earlier that night. I walked out of the room and into Adam's library, basking in glory. Like I said, he has a luxurious estate. He has a library. And still vaping, I sit on his oversized reading throne until I passed out for the night. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. I feel like everyone's first time eating edibles involves disappointment, quickly followed by a wave of high hitting like the GTA 5 train. It's just unstoppable, leaving yourself floating at the mercy of the sea of THC, just hoping you didn't get too high. It's the classic these edibles ain't shit dilemma. And in my case, my first edibles really were shit because the mixture of THC in these brownies I got were just not evenly spread throughout. I got my first edibles from this one kid I went to school with. I didn't really know the guy, but I knew Roman and he knew the guy, so I trusted the guy. He had baked his own edible brownies he was selling at school, so I decided to jump on the opportunity and I bought 3 of them for Cole, Roman, and me. We got through our day of school with the weekend ahead of us, so we decided to all assemble at Roman's place that night and eat the brownies. And if anything bad were to happen, we had Saturday and Sunday to recover from this. So it's around 6 p.m. and the 3 of us are all bunkered down in Roman's bedroom. We had prepared for the munchies, so we had boxes of Oreos, bags of Doritos, and 3 Happy Meals for the 3 of us. We got our brownies and we prepared to enter the high. Wherever this brownie takes us, we don't know. We could very well come out of this new men. Let us surrender to the high in complete acceptance. There's no fighting what's to come. So after the epic speech, we eat our brownies and we start playing Minecraft. We make a new world with the hopes that we'll make some weird stuff we can look back on when we're sober, but I won't lie, we don't end up playing the game for very long. Just about every 4 or 5 minutes, we're all like, feel anything yet? No. Nah. Damn, I hope we didn't get scammed. After 30 minutes or so pass, Cole just falls over and starts laughing. These brownies hit him hard. Almost as hard as the carbon monoxide poisoning that will be taking out Chains for Real on the 16th of October, 2023 at 4:08 a.m. The 2 of us turn around and this dude is already shredding into the Happy Meal with no remorse. Damn, that shit must have really hit. Seeing Cole act a fool had some kind of chain reaction on me because I started to feel these brownies almost right away, and I started tearing into my Happy Meal with no remorse. We get our toys out, and at the time, McDonald's had Frozen 2 toys, so I got this man that looks like he's made out of literal shit, and Cole got the same guy. These toys were also projectiles, so we're just shooting each other with the shit man and losing it. This whole time, Roman is just sitting here sober as a doorknob. I mentioned how the THC wasn't spread evenly throughout the brownies. What ended up happening with that was Roman didn't get high at all, while Cole and I got a super concentrated part of the batch. So we're having a good time while Roman just has to assume the parental figure position for the night. It's unfortunate, but Roman never experiences fortune, so it is what it is. The two of us completely ignore Minecraft to destroy every crumb of food we have. I start getting thirsty, so I leave the room and I start walking to the kitchen. I see Roman's mom coming in my direction, so I quickly just make a turn to go into the bathroom to avoid her. When I walk into the bathroom, it feels so still. It's a little cold and there's not a sound. I stare at myself in the mirror for like 10 minutes without breaking eye contact, and I just think to myself, damn, I'm really just a guy on drugs right now. My thoughts get broken by a loud thump from outside the room. So I go out and I go back to the bedroom and I just see all the Happy Meal boxes crushed flat on the ground. Cole is just walking around talking about Don Juan, some Spanish dude that seduces women, I guess. I don't really know. I'm like, yo, what was that noise? And I don't even know what Roman said back to me because I just enter a new dimension in this moment. I don't know what it is, but I'm just hit so hard. I tune out the entire external world and get taken somewhere entirely different. I lay on the bed and just focus all my attention on the sound of the Minecraft soundtrack that's still playing on the game we abandoned. Me and the bed just become one being, and I'm like this for the rest of the night. I don't even notice it, but Cole and Roman leave the room, and apparently they went off on a walk and got chased by a dog or something. I'm not all too sure because I was gone and out for the rest of the night, but that's just what they told me. The next morning, I woke up feeling super tired, but it was also kind of a nice tired. I just felt chill. Roman was fine, but Cole's pants had an entire bottom half of the leg ripped off. I was in such a chill mindset, I didn't even bother to ask, but it seemed like those two really went through some shit. Once the night was over and I had successfully done my first edible, I look back on it glad that Roman didn't get to experience it at all, because fuck him. Sleepovers with the boys are sacred moments to see how many boundaries you can get away with pushing, even if it means overextending a bit. It's what makes it fun. This night, Roman, Cole, and I planned to push the 2 ironclad rules amongst the Roman household. Rule 1, no weed. His parents didn't even know he smoked at this time. And 2, no friends over on this particular weekend. We were to not only sneak the weed into his house, but also ourselves. Roman had just got a brand new PlayStation VR headset, and we wanted to experience the virtual reality while high, which posed for the riskiest activity of all. You see, this was his family PlayStation, meaning it was right in the middle of the living room, so we had to move at night when the family sleeps. Me and Cole stake outside for dusk to fall and Roman to give us the word. We had the weed in an airtight seal, a small pipe to smoke it, and some Febreze bottles to kill the smell. Eventually, we see the front door open. Roman gave us the signal and we slowly enter his house to not make a sound. We all make our way upstairs, walking past his parents' bedroom to get to our safe haven, Roman's bedroom. Objective 1 was complete. Now we had to complete objective 2, smoke the gas. So how are we gonna do this, man? I've got a spot. He opens his window and walks onto the roof. The 3 of us get to smoke under the stars as the calm before the storm. A moment of solitude before things take off. Once we're nice and high, we stumble back down to the window, probably almost die, and get back inside. The night was looking good. If we could complete our final objective to play VR, we could call this mission a success. We make our way downstairs and turn on the PlayStation, ready to experience this new world. We didn't want the smell of weed to linger on us, so we spray the Febreze bottle around the living room. But something all wise men know is not to give 3 high kids a bottle of Febreze. Since it's his house, naturally, Roman gets first dibs on VR. But as soon as he puts this headset on, we start spraying him all around with the Febreze and watch him helplessly squirm. Before we know it, we had sprayed the entire bottle of Febreze, and this room was so smelly, it was completely unlivable. And this headset had speakers built into it too, which is important because Roman didn't realize how loud he was being. He was screaming. We hear a door slam and footsteps coming downstairs. Bull and I had to think fast before whoever was coming downstairs came down and saw us. So me and him run into the closet. Roman has no idea we left him behind because he can't see and can hardly hear. So if we tried to communicate to him, we would have just blown our covers. His mom comes downstairs like, "What the fuck is all this noise? And what's this smell?" Roman takes off the headset to see us gone, and he knows he's fucked. We have to listen to Roman get yelled at from this closet, and the situation is just awkward. But we couldn't concern ourselves with that because we had larger issues. It was inevitable that Roman's mom would take him up to his room, and that's exactly where the weed was. We had to act fast and somehow get from the closet to Roman's bedroom to out of the house without being detected. Luckily, the Febreze came in clutch because it made his mom stand in the kitchen and not the living room. This allowed us to open the closet door and hug the corner up the stairs undetected. We run to his bedroom and get the weed, and we're like, what in God's name do we do now? We couldn't go out the front door. The only escape was through his window and onto the roof. Me and Cole sit out here just talking about how fucked Roman is. Alright, as long as his mom doesn't see us or the weed, we should be good. But what are we supposed to do? Just sit up here all night? Well, at least we have the weed on us. So the two of us, stuck between a mom and a hard place, resort to smoking more. I mean, what else are we gonna do? Some time passes and we see a head poke out the window. Yo, Roman, are you good? But this wasn't Roman. It was actually his dad. The two of us are paralyzed until he talks. Yo, what's up, guys? What are you doing up there? He sees our weed and puts 2 and 2 together. You know what? I used to smoke weed too all the time as a kid. I don't want to freak you guys out. So he uses his dad magic to get us through the house undetected, drives us home, and we get out safe while Roman takes the fall for us. Okay, that's the story. Ring the bell. Bye. Guys, I'm not a stupid person. I'm actually very smart. But I accidentally got a nicotine addiction. It wasn't even my fault though. It was just the way the world dealt its cards to me. I think it's very important to understand that nicotine is bad. And now that that's out of the way, let me explain to you how I accidentally got a nicotine addiction. So the day prior to the birth of my nicotine addiction, I smoked some King gas with a lawyer, and it utterly defeated me. During that night when I was blasted, my boy Roderick gave me his vape, and without realizing it, I went home with it in my pocket. So the following day, this thing was just sitting around my house. I texted Roderick, bro, I got the mint elf bar at my place. Come and get it, big dog. Bro, after last night, I can't do it. I'm incapacitated. I'll just get it tomorrow, alright? And thus began the first day with my vape. After what had transpired the other night, I won't lie, I was a bit incapacitated as well. So I thought I'd take the day easy, stay inside, and watch a little anime on my iPad like a 12-year-old child. Since I spent the entire day inside, I was constantly tempted by the vape, just lying around. I didn't feel the need to hit it yet, but the morbid curiosity of the vape was building in my head as the day went on. I had vaped before, but I had never been able to actually get a nicotine high before. So as the night came around, I had the thought, alright, I know these Johns are terrible and life-destroying, but it's technically not my vape. So once I experience this head rush, I'll just get rid of it tomorrow and I'll never have a chance to get hooked. So I start sucking this thing like a Division I football player until I finally feel my first nicotine high. I feel like I compare the high to if you drank a cup of coffee, but all of the energy was condensed into 2 minutes and then it suddenly goes away in an instant. But once I got it the first time, I called it quits, not knowing the floodgates I had just opened. It's day 2, so I gave Roderick that call, but this time he says to me, "Yo, I'm sick as a dog. I can't get the vape. I'll let you know when I get better though." I had another unexpected day ahead of me with the vape, and once again, I held off until the night, because once dusk fell, I'm hitting this little thing like crazy. This day, I hit it a few more times than I'd like to admit. I got into what I would like to call a mode and ripped the vape listening to Nightcore. I think it's safe to say this vape was already beginning to change me in insurmountable ways. So as day 3 rolled around, I was like, I can't be doing this. I gotta keep clean today. I won't chief that stinky elf bar one time. And I actually did keep to it. I resisted the urge until the dreaded day 4 came around. Don't even get me started on day 4. Oh my god. So I was running the usual, laying in bed, living in my own filth, and watching iPad anime. I was feeling like a degenerate and fittingly binging Chainsaw Man. I was just as low as Denji. There's a specific part of the show where this girl with an eye patch says, "Hey, you smoke cigarettes?" And this guy with a sword says to her, "Nah, it bad for my bones or whatever." To which she replies, "You'll never survive in this world if you don't have a cigarette addiction," and peer pressures him into getting a nicotine addiction. Now, that peer pressure worked on me too. This scene had me hitting the vape like never before. I was holding the iPad like, I want to be unhinged. I need a vice. She's so bad, bro. I just want to be like her. Oh my god. So Chainsaw Man the anime and this woman in particular are who I really blame for starting my nicotine dependency. Not myself. I start mindlessly ripping the nicotine as I'm watching this show, and I'm not even feeling anything half the time. I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. Then another landmark moment happens. There's a scene where my favorite character is in bed looking like a fine dish, and I'm like, oh my god! Oh yeah, that hits the spot. Now, as I finished the season, I got ready for bed, and then I realized I couldn't sleep. It's hard to explain, but something about the nicotine made me so tired, but at the same time unable to sleep. But it was one of those nights where tears well up in your eyes and you violently punch your pillows out of frustration. Now that the ball is rolling, day 5 was just as bad as day 4, except that I was doing it all day. I didn't just wait for the night to do it. I was not even thinking, I was just hitting the thing, since I knew eventually Roderick would get it from me, and so it didn't really matter how much I did, right? Well, that mentality went on for the next 3 days until I finally got the text from Roderick that he was ready to get the vape. He comes over to my house and I'm unrecognizable from the week before. My eyes are shrunken, my bones are brittle, my teeth are black and rotting. As I hand the vape over to him, he pulls a little too hard and my arm comes off with it. Now, that's a slight exaggeration, but after he picked it up, the withdrawals started to kick in. It was just supposed to be a fun little experiment, but within 1 week, I had become an avid nicotine smoker. My craving for nicotine was stronger than ever. Every inch of my body felt like it needed nicotine, and I couldn't help but wonder how much longer I could go without satisfying my nicotine addiction. My health was beginning to deteriorate as well. My breathing became labored and irregular. Headaches appeared on a regular basis. It felt like there was no escape from this addiction, and no matter how hard I tried, it seemed impossible to break free from it. But as time passed, it went away and it was actually not hard at all. And now I believe that all nicotine addicts are just weak. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Here's a big one. You people have wanted this. My first time getting high, as it goes for most people, was a crazy experience. Now, I was at my friend Roderick's house. He's a classic guy. He's in just about every story that I tell at this point. Roderick's house was not like any other house. He lives in luxury. A luxury that a poor, under the poverty line boy like me will flip his shit when he sees. I mean, he's got a piano as you walk into his house. He's got a projector as a TV in his living room. This is the shit you see LA YouTubers live in. He lives in the Incredibles mansion. So Roderick was the weed expert that was going to show me his ways, and I was his apprentice. And this wasn't just my first time smoking weed. I should mention it was also my friend Roman's. The three of us were all sleeping over together this night inside Roderick's nice-ass house. Roderick was the real homie this night because he said, we can't just smoke a wax pen on both of your guys' first time. We gotta get our hands on the real stuff. What we had to do first was acquire the weed because we didn't have anything at this point. So we were going through the process of asking everyone that we knew on Snapchat if they knew somebody that sells weed until we finally landed on one guy. We pull up to his place and it's not scary at all. But this is my first drug deal. I'm anxious in my mind. What if this dude's got a gun? What if he kills us in cold blood? But then this dude comes out of his house with these big ass goggle glasses. He looked like a real dork. This motherfucker was a certified bozo. We could have given this dude a wedgie for the weed. Once we drove off with the weed, we all just burst out laughing because we were expecting the exact opposite of this guy. We had acquired our first weed. Roman and I were just marveling at its beauty. We felt the weed, we smelt the weed, but most importantly, we wanted to smoke the weed. Before we stopped back at Roderick's, we drove to the gas station and he was like, I'll be back in a minute. This won't take long. He comes back with a bottle of Sprite, a pack of gum, a pencil, and a straw. Yo, what is this all for, bro? You'll see, bro. You will see. So we drive back to Roderick's place, run to his bedroom, and assemble all of our stuff. Roman and I just sit back while Roderick works his magic. He drinks the whole Sprite bottle, takes a gum wrapper, and wraps it over the top. He pokes some holes in the wrapper, and then he stabs the side of the bottle and sticks a straw in. And just like that, we had our own homemade bong made. It was a pretty jank way to smoke weed, and it didn't work all that effectively, but we had to make do with what we had. We were on limited resources. So we smoked out the Sprite bottle. And I don't know what was in this weed, but it affected Roman and I in a way weed has never before since then. In my going for a walk on mushrooms video, I mentioned how the mushrooms made my vision like in Minecraft, how your FOV can increase. In my experience, that's pretty usual for mushrooms, but this was the one and only time that I've had this effect solely from weed. And it wasn't just me. Roman had the same experience with his vision. It was so weird. I don't know what was in this goddamn weed, but it had us looking at things crazy. I was so goddamn giggly too that I just couldn't get enough of these guys. I laughed at everything. It didn't stop. After you smoke a good amount of times, I feel like the giggles eventually just go away. But the first time I had the laughs. Then the fabled munchies kicked in and we had no remorse for the kitchen. We started tearing through everything like savages. There was a fruit bowl in the middle of the kitchen, so I went, don't mind if I do, and wiggled my little fingers. I picked out an apple and there was a fly on the apple, and I don't know why, but this fly scared me. I mean, I don't fuck with bugs. So I threw the apple, I projectile tossed it across the living room, and it hit right into a framed painting and shattered the glass. I don't feel good about this even today, but luckily the painting itself wasn't damaged and his parents were not home at the time. It was fucking loud. They would have known what happened. So we started to panic, but thankfully Roderick is the real homie because he vacuumed up the glass for us. Lord knows, neither of our asses could have functioned a vacuum in our current state. And by this time, I started fucking up the Pop-Tarts, and I just forgot about what happened. I wasn't joking when I said we were savages. We were on a real ruffian shit. Roman went back to the room first with his snacks, and as I followed behind him, I entered the room to see that he was unclothed. He was only wearing his undies. He was sitting on Roderick's bed, eating a family bag of chips and watching YouTube videos. I feel like it's almost a universal experience where people smoke weed for the first time and search videos to watch while high on YouTube. And the same videos always just come up too. I know that you have seen this cartoon before. This video had us mesmerized. It was beautiful. We went on a YouTube binge for like over an hour or so, and I couldn't tell you how it happened, but we eventually ended up on Diary of a Wimpy Kid YouTube. We were just enjoying some classics like Greg Heffley is a Sociopath. After we got bored of YouTube, we put on some lo-fi beats, and Roderick had this light projector that put stars all over the walls, and we fell into a slumber. I was paranoid the following week or so because I thought his parents would have noticed the painting frame that I broke, but they never really did. Because of me, there's a painting with no glass in his house, and to this day, nobody has really noticed it at all. So that was the story of the first time I smoked weed. Okay, bye-bye. These big old doohickeys are notorious for being the kings of smoking equipment. Just look at this list, it's at number 1. And it's for a good reason. Anyone who's ever used one knows just how lethal a few hits can be. And I did 10 big hits living to tell the tale, baby. I was in a smoke competition with this guy that is genuinely unhinged and vile as a person, but we'll get into that. It all started in one of my stacked classrooms. I had Roderick, Adam, Roman, need I say more? But there was one unnamed mystery individual in this class as well. No one knew him, but also everybody knew of him. He'd always be dressed up extremely classily. He had this pot hat he always wore. He had those anime hoodies and his classic lightning bolt Crocs. The dude dressed so loudly despite never speaking a word once, until Roman did his talking to strangers thing and came up to the squad like, "Yo guys, I talked to the Croc Guy, he seems kinda cool, I'm gonna hang out with him." But then "I'm gonna hang out with him" quickly turned into "we all hang out with him," because the three of us were just too curious to meet this guy. We had to be there. So the plans were made, of course, at Adam's magnificent property. The day had come and the boys were all dressed up head to toe for Croc Guy's arrival. As he burst through the front door, we were all pleasantly surprised to see he was still sporting that iconic look. Considering his hat, we wasted no time to get to the point. "You wanna smoke?" Sure." So we get the equipment and all tiptoe downstairs ready for smoke time. "So how often you smoke that epic, bro?" Just about every day." "Oh, alright, so you think you can do more than I can?" Well, why don't we find out, So I grab that thing, take a hit, and pass it over to him. It goes around its rotation about 3 more times before the big man Adam has to tap out. 2 more rotations and Roderick taps out. Then ultimately, once we get to the 7th hit, I look over at Croc Guy and he says to me, I can't do this anymore." So me and Roman do a celebratory dance to commemorate victory. "I feel on top of the world! We need to go to the gym!" So we go into Adam's home gym. Like I said, he's got quite the estate. And me and Roman start hitting this punching bag with no remorse for our hands. In the face of success and 7 bong rips, there was no pain to be felt. But Roman must have had some serious demons because he took it pretty far, but he's the unhinged one, so it's not unexpected of him. After we broke our actual hands, we walk back over to meet with the group downstairs. But it's important to note, as we walked back, I was walking behind Roman. We were met at a crossroad where going left would lead us downstairs, which was where everyone was, but going right would lead us to Adam's bedroom, where I could swear I heard some kind of noise from. But I had thought that everyone was still downstairs. Did they come up to Adam's room? Roman didn't hear this, so he kept walking without realizing I had stopped behind him. So I turned alone and walked towards Adam's bedroom, and as I walked in, I see the Croc Guy laying on the floor, but I didn't see anyone else. Yo, what's up?" No response. I walk closer, and I see he's passed out in a weed coma of some sort. But as my eyes wander down, I see the Croc Guy is, exposed. I'm frozen for a moment before I slowly just walk out of the room to not make a noise. "Bro, what was that? I knew we should have never hung out with the Croc dude. Oh my god, I need to tell everyone else about this right now." Once I got downstairs, I see Roderick freestyling and I freeze up again. Being as high as I was, I realized it would be pretty awkward to explain the situation to them. So alternatively, the plan was to naturally lead them into finding out themselves themselves. But before I said anything, there was one absolutely fire bar Roderick said during his freestyle, which went along the lines of, "She didn't want to fuck me, but she should have." After that heat was spoken, I said, "Guys, let's all go upstairs." "Okay, but let's smoke more." So we do the bong rotation 3 more times before going upstairs, and I'm just hammered. I am smashed from these hits, dude. As we walk up and towards the room, Roman yells out, "Bro, we need to go to the pool. I want to see what the water looks like." So the great Croc Guy reveal was delayed while the 4 of us sit by Adam's pretty sweet indoor pool. But to be honest, because of all those extra bong rips, I kind of forgot at this point the trauma that I had seen earlier. Something had snapped inside of me just out of nowhere at this pool because I'd start talking to myself. "We're going to war, boys. This is gonna be the end." "What are you talking about, bro?" "We're in the cryopod, bro. We're freezing ourselves in the cryopod before we go to die at war on the fire planet." "You're on something else right now." "Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about." "Tell me, should I die for my family or for my country?" "Definitely the country, bro." "Yeah, definitely. When I'm out there, I don't have a family." I just created an entire headcanon in my mind that we were these space soldiers. I don't know where it came from, but it was funny. "We should leave the pool, Roman. That was a shit idea." As everyone left, I kind of lagged behind for 30 seconds or so before I got up. And because of that, I exited out of the wrong door because I'm directionally impaired. I ended up on the other side of the house in the living room. There was jazz playing, the Christmas tree was set up, dim lighting. This was the absolute peak environment to be in. So I sat down for a minute alone to take in the environment when my peace was suddenly interrupted by screaming at the other end of the house. Then I finally remembered that atrocity in Adam's bedroom that I forgot about, but I didn't bother to go over there since the situation I was in was just too good. So I just laughed about it alone from a completely different end of the house while my 3 friends just went through torture. I couldn't be bothered when I was this high and cozy. Eventually, I just kind of fell asleep and the boys handled it. I don't know what exactly they did to the Croc Guy, but whatever happened was surely a solution. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Encounters with the police are always anxiety inducing, even if you're innocent. You never know if you're gonna get shot in the head on site with their guns because they're feeling a little bloodthirsty and want to kill that day. If you've ever had an encounter with the police when you've got something to hide though, when you got dirty hands and you see those lights, you go into fight or flight. It could very well be the end. Now, I had a little cop altercation recently and it had me shitting myself backwards, so I thought I'd tell the story today because it was very goddamn scary. So I'm chilling with my man Roderick and we gotta head over to my boy, we'll call him Adam. We had to go over to Adam's house because I had left a little jar of mushrooms over there the other night. I had to go over there to pick them up because he was gonna go out of town the next day, so we drove over to his place and we ended up going for a little walk while we were over there. I won't lie though, during this walk through the late night suburbs, we were partaking in some gas, some weed, some za, some goody good. You know, we went around for a bit, it was fun, but by the time we got back to his house, we wanted a little more walking. We were fiending for the walk. We decided we would drive over to the college campus and peruse around that place for a little bit. Now, I wouldn't trust myself to drive a car while high. I know people are about to say that's irresponsible, but this is Roderick driving the car we're talking about. He's high just about every waking moment of his existence. He's good. If he couldn't drive a little high, he wouldn't be able to function as a modern human. And the streets are empty past 9 p.m. where I live, so you'd be hard pressed to even find another human person. So I got my little mushrooms and I was going to put them in the glove box, but my dumbass couldn't figure out how to open it, so I decided to put it in the tunnel console. This seems like a pointless detail, but trust me, it's important. As we were driving to campus, we saw some dude getting pulled over, and then we saw another dude getting pulled over, and then we saw the police lights light up right behind us. Adam was lighting up a joint at the time, and we were also all high, so our hearts sank. But it turns out he was only pulling over the car behind us. We had seen 3 people getting pulled over in the span of like a 10-minute car drive. It was crazy. I guess they just needed to hit that quota, so they were pulling over anyone on the road. We went on our little walk, and as we were walking through the campus, we saw another person being pulled over. This was just absurd. I can guarantee these people probably did not deserve to be pulled over. There isn't that much illegal activity that happens here. As we finished the walk, we started heading to my place since I lived the closest to campus. But as we were driving through the last light to my place, not even a minute away from the destination, Roderick drives through a yellow and the goddamn police come after us for driving through the yellow light. It was the most clearly yellow light, bro. So we pull over and we're like, holy shit, we're fucked. We're all high and we just got pulled over. And in this moment, I remembered that we have mushrooms in the car. We are in possession of illegal drugs. And they're sitting right in the tunnel console that's broken anyways and doesn't have a top to it. So if the cop walked over, he'd just see it sitting there in the middle. So as the cop is walking over to the car, the best thing I can think of is to take the mushrooms and throw them under my seat. Imagine if I had put them in the glove compartment like I originally was going to do. He would have asked for the registration and the drugs would have just been right there. Luckily, I was a stupid, silly little guy this night, and I couldn't figure out how to open it. He comes up to my window, even though I'm the passenger, and he shines this flashlight right in my face, and he's like, "You ran a red, man." He asked the usual questions like, are you under the influence and do you have weapons? Roderick says no to both of these, even though he's high and has knives in his car. I don't even know why he lied about the weapons, dude. He just did. So he goes back to his car for like 20 minutes while he checks the registration, and the 3 of us are just sitting in silence the whole time. The air was thick. It was a loud silence. He comes back to the car and just lets us go. So we head out scared shitless. I get home and I just go to bed immediately and hit the in my bed. I don't know why the cops were so active this night, but I guess it was cool that we didn't get a ticket or caught with drugs. If you take anything from this story, I would take that you shouldn't drive through yellow lights around cops because they will use your life for a quick bag. Smoking alone can lead to so many different experiences. Unlike smoking with others, where the dynamic of the group's collective synergy determines the vibe, that vibe is up to you and whatever's going on up in that thick head of yours. In my case, my brain wants to do 5 different things all at once, and I end up led down strange rabbit holes. Just look at this clip I found once.
It's extremely creepy to think about the fact that Mario may be facing a purgatory where he has to face the loss of everyone he failed to protect.
Anyways, during my last late night solo session, I decided to track everything I did in my notes app. So here's what I wrote about the journey. Once I began my high, I realized, yo, I bought this projector the other day just for an occasion like this. So I turned it on and sat in my big chair. I did what I do every time and I played Snowfall by One Heart on my Alexa. I had created a nice little setting for myself, so I sat back, looked at the ceiling, and existed in it. Then thoughts came over me. I started to have evil thoughts corrupting my mind. The demons were taking over quickly, so before they had a chance to overcome me, I went on my iPhone SE and opened YouTube. The first video that came up on my recommended was called The Quiet Sadness of Mario Galaxy. And after my demonic ordeal, I thought to myself, that's just like me, I gotta watch this one. But as I clicked on the video, I got an advertisement for Pizza Hut's new melts and instantly forgot about everything else. In this moment, all I wanted was to taste these delicious, cheesy new Pizza Hut melts. They looked so unequivocally delicious. All other foods paled in comparison to the melt's greatness. So I clicked on the ad, which sent me to a screen that asked me to make a Pizza Hut account to continue. I tried for like 10 minutes to make an account to no avail, until I saw there was a guest option. But if you're a guest, you still can't order Pizza Hut. God damn it, I can't take this anymore. I'm using Postmates. And then I suddenly got an earth-shattering text message from Roman. Bad news, y'all. My parents are getting a divorce and my dad's in jail. Oh no. Do not fret. Little did I know this message was a bit of a troll. If I had just looked at the message above it that read, "Roman, save my divorce voice recordings," I could have pieced it together, but I didn't. The big dog Cole was running a meme sending Roman voice recordings pretending to be his father, saying he was getting a divorce. But again, I didn't realize this. How did this happen? I need to call him. Bro, explain this to me. Yeah, my parents are getting a divorce. My dad's in jail. Really? Yep, he's in jail, rotting and divorced. Well, he didn't seem too bothered by that. Oh god, oh, I'm so hungry. I need that Postmates. I had finally ordered the elusive melts, and while waiting for them, I decided to go back and watch that Mario video. I got probably 1 minute exactly into my viewing until my eyes cheekily shifted down to the first recommended video, being one of those house building process videos. This joint will hit right now, sheesh. As you can imagine, it didn't take long for my brain to start thinking something else. I bet I could build a house. Why don't I just build one right now? I'll play Minecraft and show this guy he could only dream to build a house as good as me. I turned on the PS4 to see the game disc wasn't in, and I'd have to get up from my chair to solve this problem. So I just sat there and did nothing. This allowed my demons, corruption, and evil sludge to coat my mind once again with its wickedness until... Pizza time! Pizza time! Forgetting the existentialism, I instantly ran to the door to acquire the payload. It seems it was just a little too fast though, because as soon as I opened the door... Thanks. It was finally time. The moment we'd all been waiting for. All the blood, sweat, and tears were about to finally pay off in this massive climax of an event. This looks so good. Holy. I took the first bite of the most heavenly food on the face of the planet. It was exactly what the commercial had promised. This melt was quite literally busting in my mouth with every delicate and cheesy bite I took. I devoured the entire thing in roughly 1 minute on my beast mode savagery and then threw myself back into the big chair. I was finally determined this time to finish the Mario video. I wasn't about to let anything stop me. So as I unlocked my phone, I saw it was still on that house making video and I remembered Minecraft was waiting for me. But this time I was changed. After devouring such a great melt, I was feeling formidable and brave enough to get up and put Minecraft into the PS4. I perfectly executed the operation, loaded up a new world, and after 20 something minutes, I made myself the most generic wooden plank house imaginable. Feeling pretty good about this, I opened my phone again, disliked the house building video in an act of ownage and deviosity. Then I got back to my Mario video. Realizing how awesome I was, I felt I couldn't fully relate to the themes of this video as well as 30 minutes ago me would have. But regardless, I watched the whole thing and only paid attention to the visuals and the music since it was all very cute. It was just so nice seeing all of these bright colors and peering into the endless depths of space while listening to the music that by the end of it, I was feeling a tad sleepy. I stumbled my way back to my bed and lay down. As I was falling asleep, I felt as though I myself was drifting through space just like the Mario man himself. It was truly serene. Okay, that's the video. Subscribe. You know the drill. I get dangerously high by myself, track everything I do on my notes app, and tell the story of the actual brain-rotting activities I get up to. But this time, there's a little twist. Before I got high, I texted my boys group chat to ruin me tonight. They could call me, text me, or just send whatever heinous dung they can at any time throughout the night that would mess with me or just make a funny moment. So here's what happened. After eating my special gummies, the first thing I wrote down in my notes was watermelon with no melon. I guess I found this video so impressive, I just had to share it. Anyways, let me set a scene for you. As the gummies came into effect, the first thought I had to myself was, I want my big Oreos. So I walk myself downstairs into my dimly lit kitchen, fill my favorite coffee mug with warm milk, and start solemnly munching on these porcelain big Oreos, one intimate bite at a time. As it turns out, I only had 3 Oreos in my bag, which left me with a real problem. I got no more Oreos, but so much milk. Without thinking, I trotted up from my seat, walked over to my little tree, and poured my milk into the soil as if it was water. It took me a minute to mentally process that I had given a tree milk until it finally hit me. Wait, no. Trees can't have milk. That's my favorite tree. What have I done? In tears, I frantically search on Google, what happens if a tree drinks milk? After a long search, I learned that milk is actually good for plants. Not just milk is good, but spoiled milk is too. It's actually a good way of making bad milk useful, so that was kind of interesting. Now I'm sitting here thinking about milk. I can't fully explain the thought process behind this moment, but I brought my ass over to YouTube and searched top 10 milk. And just watch this. Why is it so loud? Why would this be the intro to top 10 milk? Anyways, the first milk was Safeway, which isn't even milk, it's a grocery store. But I used to work there, so I commented, so helpful, plus I love Safeway. This comment was a little premature though, because after giving such praise 10 seconds into the video, I decided to skip to the end to see what is the world's greatest milk. This was a terrible mistake that turned all my praise into pure unadulterated rage. They said the best milk is Borden. Are you joking? You have to be smoking crack to genuinely believe Borden is the best milk there is. So rationally, I replied to my original comment with a nasty and hateful reply. As I hit send on the comment, my messages start getting spammed with a constant influx of this deranged dog image coming in from 5 separate people. There had been an organized attack on my iPhone messages, and the dinging wouldn't stop until I got a phone call from someone with no caller ID. I pick up the phone. Hello? And this is exactly what I heard back. Is this Borden? Do I need to repent? Do I need to repent for the sins that I spoke on your milk, Borden? And before there was a reply, my phone crashed from the constant dog images that were still going through that whole time. Holy shit, I made a terrible mistake. But then, as if God's light came shining down at me in my darkest time, as I turned my phone back on, the image of the dog had changed. He was so happy now, grinning ear to ear. It was a beautiful sight. Seeing him smile back at me gave me such a sigh of relief. So I felt I'd treat myself to a little Chipotle queso. I ordered from Postmates and the driver's name was Quentin, and I promise you this is a detail that comes back. As I'm waiting for my Postmates, I go back on YouTube to see something that truly pissed me off. The video was called Strongest Energy Drinks Comparison, which I thought sounded pretty cool. I was interested in what the world's strongest energy drink was. I click on the video and every single energy drink has 320 milligrams of caffeine. Like, it does not stop. The drinks just keep going and they never change. I keep thinking to myself, oh, the next one's gotta be stronger. It's not gonna be 320 milligrams of caffeine, and it never is. I was blown away by the asinine shit this video was, so much so that I left a hate comment. And then I got a neighborhood watch alert from the Ring app that there was a shooting nearby. This was one of the best things that had happened to me this night because it gave me a great idea. If you didn't know, the Ring app has a feature where you can create a post that gets sent out to every single person that has the app in a multiple mile wide radius. I had never done this before, but just the thought to have that much power, sending a direct message to so many people at once, seemed a little too good to be true. But I wanted to figure out if I could do it, if it was possible. First, I would have to figure out what the post was going to be. I thought back to everything that had happened to me this night. That dog with the massive grin. The Postmates driver named Quentin. Everything came together as I uploaded the dog image and gave it the title Dog Acquired and made my masterpiece. Dog alert, we found Quentin. Thank you everyone that helped look for Quentin, but you can finally stop because the search is over. Here he is, happy as ever now that he's home and safe. He must have gone on quite the adventure. I thought this post seemed pretty believable, and so did the people working for Ring, since my post made it through the auto moderation and was sent out to the public. This was a massive success. Not gonna lie, I felt pretty awesome after pulling off the Quentin scheme, so I went upstairs and ate more of my gummies. This would ultimately feed into a dark cycle though, because once I started playing Fortnite, in between every game, I would forget forget that I had eaten a gummy and I would go for more. I don't know how many of these I ended up having, but I had enough that I tragically forgot the Chipotle queso waiting for me at the door that the real Quentin had delivered for me so graciously. I was just like Drake off these gummies because after I ate all of them, I was out like a light. And that's the end of the story. Subscribe. Bye. When it comes to high school, we all have shit memories. Nobody's decision making will be depthful when they don't have consciousness. Even when it was good, it was never all that good. Today, I'm unfortunately here to recall upon a time that has fallen down in infamy. It was a certified bad time. Back in 11th grade, we needed to up the ante and raise the stakes on a daily basis, merely to keep entertained and probably alive with our hormone brains. So we concocted this half-scheme idea to smoke gold. And what I meant by that was to roll a golden joint, surely an absolute premium experience to be had. We wanted that man in the moon weed to get us out of this motherfucking world and to place into our wraps made of gold. But that wasn't enough. We had the brilliant idea of suggesting a boys' feast this night, featuring a steak, a beautiful steak, as the main dish. We fancied ourselves sophisticated philosophers and men of taste. The philosophers in question being me, Roman, Roderick, and Adam. Our combined brain power told us we needed to act fast, or else Adam's plug may take a nap. So Adam texted him at lunch real quick to secure a dub before Mans hit his afternoon weed coma. After school, we hopped in the whip and skirted off. Questing with the boys was never any lightweight situation, you understand. A Socratic philosophical debate carried out inside revolving around how much coinage was required for the night's festivities. If we pooled our money, we had $47, which was probably enough to buy the steak and the weed that we wanted. We pulled up to Safeway and parked the whip to commence the shopping. This was my first time buying meat to cook. I didn't know what to look for, and neither did anyone else. We bought the steak, got in, and got the fuck out of there like that. Adam's plug lived right up the hill, so we zoomed up the hill right after and filled into his basement like weed gnomes. When we got the za, we tell him about our quest and ask him if he knows how or where we could find golden wraps. He goes, "Hold on," as he pulls out a golden cone and a small piece of gold paper. You can either have a pre-roll for 20 or the filter for free, but you can't have both. This is what I meant when I said high school was shite. This moment right here should have been it all. Anyways, the boys mentally connect for a moment and confirmed that we're all like, fuck this guy. So we grab the filter and head out. Before we leave, he gives us 3 shops that wouldn't card, according to him. With 2 of the 3 ingredients scored, everybody hopped back in Adam's car and set course for the first shop. We for real felt like American navies in this moment. Brave seamen who ventured into unknown waters for booty. As we pulled into the parking lot, Adam said he wanted to go in first. So we blessed his ass with ancient prayers before exiting the vehicle. He comes back empty-handed and looking a tad unnerved. He explains that he went in to find a really chill, young-looking guy behind the counter. But as he started to browse around, he noticed that there was a bit of a switch up. An old guy sat crossing his arms and glaring at Adam from where the other guy was. This did not vibe with Adam very well, so he bolted out the door before he let anything else happen. Exhibit 19 as to why high school sucks. The shit you have to risk your literal life and limb over was never worth it. Looking back, this was not worth the amount of trouble we could have gotten into. From here on out, we decided to call the places to ask if they had any specialty wraps, but the second and third shops that the plug had given us were a no-go. So we decided to Google 24 karat gold weed wrapping paper for sale near me. This turned up some interesting results, and after some more Googling, we narrowed it down to one shop that might have had it. At this point, we're impatient and morally sabotaged after escaping a nearly fatal encounter with the last. As we're pulling into this decrepit looking empty strip mall, we consult the lexicon and find a ritual ritual of protection for our boy Roderick. We gotta buff him with Dark Moon Blade before sending our man out into the fray of Dark Root Garden, bro. This motherfucker Roman starts chanting inaudibly. We wrap up our blessings and Roderick steps out ready to face our collective demons. Adults in authority positions in possession of shit that we want. We wait 5 minutes, then like 8, and then about 10 minutes go by and there's still no sign of him. Finally, he comes out and it looks good. He's got that little grin we all knew meant good things. Roderick went sexy beast mode and not only found the wraps, but convinced this guy that he was 21 enough to buy them. So we had the wraps, we had the za, we had the steak, and we had our magical precious filter. All that was needed now was to assemble the stones like Thanos and rip fat tokes of this golden excellence. Adam's parents still hadn't gotten home yet, so we zoomed over there to prepare the feast. Adam cracks out the pan while Roman and Roderick take over the cooking preparations. Everyone crowds around the cooking skillet watching the steak come up as Adam tries to roll the joint. The problem was that we had not expected the golden wrapping paper to be as thin and slippery as it was. Adam's fingers couldn't really get a good tuck going and fold the paper over. Micro weed nuggets start falling out and I foresee what is about to happen before it does. This moment is God sent. I prophesized the fall of the joint. As we're all there admiring this magnificent cut of beef sizzling on the burner, Adam's hands dip down low, causing every single last crumb of weed to roll out the tip into the steak. Nobody says anything. Then, without saying a word or anything out loud, we all lean forward and start trying to inhale the sizzling weed crumbs off the frying pan. But of course, it doesn't work, so we all cry and piss ourselves for the rest of the night. And that's why high school is ass. The relationship with the plug is more impactful on your life as that of your parents. But what precedes that relationship with the plug is a constant and brooding struggle to find the one. Those moments when you struggle to find a plug at the climax of a dark and damp boys' night, it's a formative canon event that bonds us all. Sometimes you come out the trenches dry and you and your boys throw in the towel on finding a plug. But when the gang clutches up and secures that last minute plug for the night, the moment is nothing shy of pure bliss. I can't imagine any other scenario more intense. And an intense night was surely ahead of me and the boys, when a very tantalizing Friday night opportunity presented itself during the before school round table discussion. Boys, who's trying to get into a little trouble tonight? Oh, you couldn't possibly mean. I think you lads know exactly what I mean. Alright, so you got any of that skiddly diddly hopscotch diddle drip on you, bro? Nope. Yeah, my pockets are empty. Oh, damn. Well, I guess we've got to get a plug on our hands. And right then, phase 1 of the plug struggle began. As all desperate high schoolers do when in need of a little grass, we all spammed everyone we have added on our Snapchat. We all tried different approaches, starting with the simple and to the point method. Anyone got grass? We tried the desperate attempt. Hey, bro, please, does anyone have weed? I need it so bad, bro. And we even tried the really desperate method. Hey, bro, would you trade a couple dozen tamales for a perk? And by the time the gang got back together after our first few periods, it was like, all right, boys, let's see the plugs for tonight. What did you all get? The only snap I got back was a picture of this girl's forehead. What about you guys? I got the left side of her face, but I think she wants me, bro. Damn, all I got was left undelivered by Team Snapchat. I think it was safe to say phase 1 was a complete train wreck. So next was on to phase 2. The second phase of our plug struggle was just straight up going up to every group we could find at lunch and asking them if they had a plug. Yo, you guys got a plug? Yeah, so let's see, we got iPhone plugs. Let's see, we got another iPhone plug. What do you have, Sarah? Let's see, I got an iPhone plug. You guys know a plug? Listen here, little boy. Bow down when you talk to me so I can hold you still and make sweet sweet love to that little pretty face. Yo, you guys know a plug I can use for tonight? Oh, yeah, bro. Here, I'll give you a snap. And just like that, Roman brought all of the boys together. For phase 2 of the plan was a monumental success. The anticipation for this night followed the three of us until school finally let out and we could make the moves towards phase 3. Messaging the plug. So we hit him up like, hey, bro, we're trying to acquire tonight. You up, baby? And he's like, yeah, man, meet me here at 9 p.m. tonight. And just like that, we had a time and place. The plug struggle was really looking like it was coming to an end. It was a bright future for the boys. So when night fell, we all sat there on Roderick's bed, kicking our legs and twiddling our thumbs for the clock to strike 9. And once the time came, we all sprinted out the house and drove 150 miles an hour to the location. But when we got to the spot, we were starting to get a really bad feeling. As it turned out, the location this plug wanted to meet us at had to be the most suspect, dark, and desolate public park we could have ever been to. We're looking around for this guy from the car and don't see anyone. We thought there was gonna be no time before red and blue lights start flashing. But then we get a Snapchat from the plug like, is that you that just pulled up? And we're like, yeah, that's us. So then he replies with, come into the playground. I'm in the fucking slide. The three of us walked into the playground and bro was not lying. He was sitting in the slide. So what you guys want tonight? We want weed. I know, but like, we would like a joint for the each of us. Oh, I only got carts. Damn, all right, well, that's cool. We'll take that. So we make the exchange and this dude only gives us the cart with no battery. So what about the battery, bro? Oh, I don't sell batteries. I only have carts. We thought this guy was scamming us. I mean, we can't do this shit with just a cart. But that's when the plug explains tweaker wires to us. Yeah, man, all you gotta do is cut a phone charger in half and you can use the wires to power the battery. It gets you really high though, so be careful. Oh, wow. So the girls at school did know what they were talking about. Now, we didn't want to question this plug anymore because we weren't about to get pushed down a slide or whatever this dude would do to us. So the three of us just trusted his word even though that sounded like it couldn't possibly work and considered phase 3 a kind of success. So we drove back to Roderick's and phase 4 to smoke the carts was initiated. We were stressing about the information this plug told us and if it was true or not. Alright, so who's gonna be the sacrifice to try this first? I don't know, bro. What if this explodes in our faces and kills us? Damn, true. It can't be that bad. I feel like nothing's gonna happen. So you wanna do it? I'm down, bro. I'll be the sacrifice. Oh, damn. So we set up the wires like the plug told us and Roderick starts sucking this cart out of an iPhone charger. Yo, no way. Ain't no way that's working, bro. Bro, do you feel high? Did it really work? Bro, it's like I hit the cart, but the house was the battery. No way. He's for sure high, dude. So what's it feel like? Is it good for us to smoke? Dude, I mean, help yourself, but this shit is hitting me like a fucking semi-truck. Roderick got ubiquitously sent into the shadow realm from that hit. It turns out that when you use tweaker wires, it makes you tweak. The electricity heats up the oil way hotter than a battery does, which in turn puts more weed particles into the inhalation, and in turn makes you higher than you could ever imagine. Damn, I guess it's either we get too high or we aren't high at all. Nah, man. I know one way. I know a method. I didn't want to do this, but my cousin can get some for you guys. Oh, for real? All right. So what's his number? It's 54. No, I think it's 4954. No, nah, that ain't it. I think it's 4594. No, that's not it. Bro is too high. Damn. We ended up having to unlock Roderick's phone with his Face ID and texted his cousin on his behalf. Hello, yes, this is Roderick, and I would like to attain some weed for my 2 friends. That sounds professional, bro. And after like 30 minutes, Roderick's cousin pulls up and takes me and Roman to the dispensary. This car ride was so awkward because since Roderick was completely obliterated, he didn't end up coming with us. But cousin Roderick pulled through and got us a battery so we could smoke the cart. After that side quest, we came back to Roderick to see that in the time we were gone, bro postmated Burger King twice. You gotta be on another planet to order Postmates twice. let alone Burger King. He had a POV video of some dude walking through China pulled up on his TV, but upon further inspection, Roderick was completely passed out on the bed with a double Whopper still in his hand. But in the end, even though we had one soldier down, phase 4 was a success as well. Me and Roman finally got to smoke the cart, and the plug struggle we went through prior only made the high hit even better. And once we got high, I won't lie, those China videos Roderick had on started to hit. We were straight up entranced by this video, and we came out of this with a whole new appreciation for our plug. So make sure to text your plug you love them, and if you can get free weed from them. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. I've mentioned how getting high at school can be stressful, but getting high at work is just fucked. I mean, at school you just have to be quiet and keep your head down and hope nobody notices. At work you actually have to do work, so the difficulty and the risk factors are way higher in my opinion, especially if you're working in some kind of retail job, because then you got to communicate with other human beings. In my case, I served my time as an honorary Safeway employee, and the job made me want to kill myself. I swear, human beings were not built for the 9 to 5 minimum wage grind. These jobs will just suck the goddamn soul out of you like no other. If I didn't smoke at work, I would have gone bananas. Now, I've smoked a good few amount of times while at work, but there was one particular day where I got a little confident in my ability and smoked too much. I had an 8-hour shift ahead of me from 2 to 10, where I had to alternate each hour from sweeping and cleaning. The thing about these days is that they were by far the easiest days on the job, hence the overconfidence. I got to work, started smoking, and clocked in. And the beginning of my shift went pretty well. I was sweeping like a king. I was cleaning like a king. Eventually, the monotony got to me after an hour or so I smoked a little more. Almost instantly, I knew I smoked a little too much. I'd be going around to each of the store's little departments, forgetting if I had cleaned them or not. I'd be sweeping every other aisle without realizing I was. It was bad. Eventually, once I got to cleaning the bathroom, I just locked myself in there and sat on the toilet to collect my thoughts. Alright, I'm obviously way too high right now to do my job. What can I do about this? Well, I could eat food, but then I'd have to wait until my break. Or I could just sneak a little treat. I need to find a way to avoid work. I think letting time do its thing is the best play here. So I left the bathroom with this plan to finish my cleaning and then just hide in the break room until the next hour came and I had to sweep. As I was walking through the store, I walked by the bakery and those goddamn donuts were just enticing to me. I couldn't resist the urge to just take a donut, but I didn't think any further past that. So I grabbed the donut, but I couldn't eat it because people would see that I was eating the donut and stealing it. So quickly, I thought up the idea to just shove the donut into my pocket and then I would eat it once I got to the break room. I went on to do my job, but then I saw my manager approach me. Oh fuck, she knows I'm high, bro. She knows I'm high. She knows about the donut too. It's all over. I'm gonna lose my fucking job.
Excuse me, but Jared told me that you didn't clean the toilet.
When I had went into the bathroom earlier, I forgot to clean it, and this goddamn guy Jared narked me out. Oh my bad, I'll go and do that now. Then I had to go back to the bathroom and watch Jared teach me how to clean a toilet. I was just watching this man filled with real, unfiltered primal rage. See man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Fuck you, Jared. Afterward, I went to the break room as planned and I ate this nasty donut that had been sitting in my pocket for the past 10 minutes. But my plan to hide here was successful. Once it was time to do my sweeps, I barely swept. I won't even lie, but I finished it in like 10 minutes and then I hid in the break room for the next 50. The next time I had to go to the bathroom to clean it, I was like, I really gotta clean this toilet well or else Jared is gonna come for my ass again. So what I did next was look through the storage closet for a literal product called elbow grease. I was too high to realize that elbow grease was not an actual thing. So I went over to Jared and I was like, hey bro, I can't find that elbow grease. And he just stared at me for like 3 seconds of silence. And then I saved it and went, I'm joking. and I just walked away. I still thought that elbow grease was a thing. I didn't put it together. I just was gonna go and clean it without the elbow grease. I ended up doing my little break room exploit for the rest of the day, and by the end of my shift, I was feeling sober. On my way home when I was driving, I realized, wait a minute. See, man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Damn. Fuck you, Jared. When I first started to smoke weed in high school, I would smoke a little too confidently. I really thought highly in my ability to hold my weed and seem like an outwardly functional person. And that overconfidence is how this story starts. Now that I think about it, overconfidence always seems to be the starting place for a lot of my stories. I think I've just got an underdeveloped frontal lobe. Anyways, me and my friends talked the day prior about doing our first wake and bake before school. So I was like, I gotta smoke weed as soon as I awake. And so I did. And I went hard this morning. My philosophy was that I had to smoke enough that it would last the entire school day. So I ripped the fattest bong rips of my life, not even before I left my bed. I got out of the bed and got to my shower, and I just stood under the water for like 20 minutes. This is where I started to think, did I smoke a little too much today? Nah, I think I'm good. I eventually got out of the shower because I started to get munchies for breakfast. You know you're gonna have a crazy day when you get the munchies for breakfast. I then proceeded to eat 3 entire bowls of peanut butter Captain Crunch. I ate so much, I felt pregnant. It was a lot of cereal. I got out the door and waited for the bus, and once I got on, I started looking around for my boys. Once I found them, the ugly truth came out. All these dudes were sober. I had been duped. I was the only person that had gone through with the plan, and I couldn't get off this bus. I had no choice but to face this entire school day way higher than I'd ever managed before, all by myself. I felt like a kid who had nobody come to his birthday party. I was alone, dude. To give you an example for how high I really was, the entire bus ride, I just looked at the floor with my eyelids halfway open. I was spacing out of my mind. I felt like I was accepting the warm embrace and darkness of death. Once the bus got to school, I came back to my body and my boys helped me in. We sat in the hallway, and before the school day started, these guys were having a whole Socratic seminar around my lifeless body. How the fuck are we supposed to deal with this problem? I mean, we could make him throw up so he's a little more sober. I don't want to throw up. I don't want to lose my cereal. I ate a lot of it this morning. I got next period with him, so I could just help him out in class there. All right, that sounds good. We'll just try and ride this out the whole day. And then the bell rang and I'm practically dragged to my first period. We were in a science class, and luckily for me, we were having one of those days where we just watch National Geographic, and that was about all we did. I sat in the back of the class with my friend, which was being my caregiver for the class, and we had to do these worksheets as we watched through the video, but I ignored them altogether. I even remember the exact video we watched this day. It was a documentary about gorillas called Go Ape. And I couldn't contain myself watching this shit, man. I mean, the monkeys and apes are just so silly, dude. In the way that the narrator talked was so seriously about them. It was killing me. He would say some stuff like,
"She's dependent on the bigger male to keep her safe, though he spends most of his time munching leaves."
And I'd be in the back of the class like... And the teacher would just look at me down with these shut up eyes. But I mean, look at this. It's still funny while sober. You cannot blame me for this at all. Just look at the way they look. They're so goofy. So the class ended and I went to the next, which I had the same friend in. So once again, I could have my little guardian to make sure nothing bad happens to little old me. After watching Go Ape, I was feeling good. Normally, I would be anxious about getting caught high at school, but this video just put me in the right mindset. Or maybe it was just that I was too high, I couldn't feel negative emotions, I don't know. Anyways, we get to the next class and it's math, so the subject is a little more involved, but again, I was chilling. My friend had to carry all of the stress going in here, which I love him for doing. If it weren't for him, I would have been done for. Thank you very much. 20 minutes into the class, class, I've got to royally poo in the toilet because of all the milk I drank this morning. So I raised my hand and the teacher is just ignoring me. And in all this time, the anticipation builds in my head for how I'm going to communicate that I need to go. I just decide this anticipation doesn't feel good. So I get up and walk out of the class. I do my business, and as I'm walking out of the bathroom, some kid is approaching me that the teacher had sent to go and get me. You gotta go back to class, man. All right. I get back to the class and the teacher's like,
What do you think you're doing leaving my classroom?
and I pull out the classic I threwed up card and I get sent to the nurse. So I gotta leave the class again, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't go to the nurse. I just go back to the bathroom and sit on the toilet until lunch. Now, this whole time I'm on the toilet, I'm thinking of a way that I can get out of school before lunch is over. I didn't feel sick at all and I wasn't about to make myself throw up. So my great plan that I had thought up was to go onto Google Images and find an image of a toilet with vomit in it. I know it's gross, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I found the right image that looked identical to the school bathroom, and I showed the image to the nurse, and I was like, I'm sick. I need my mom to pick me up. So my mom comes and picks me up. I won't lie, I felt like I had outsmarted the schooling system this day. That win really stroked my ego. I went home and I just played Fortnite all day, and it was a massive W because I don't take no L's ever. I imagine my friends that day were pretty confused because I had just disappeared. You know, they eventually found out. All right, that's a story. Bye-bye. College dorms are terrible. I'd rather sleep on the sidewalk than be in the living conditions these places put the students through. My college is just horrible. I could go on about this for a while, but on campus, there was one dorm that was actually livable, and that's the honors dorm. I won't lie, my high school performance was not good, but during my freshman year of college, I got put into the honors dorm for weird COVID reasons, probably. But I didn't complain. I didn't choose to be born God's favorite. This was the first time I had full independence too. I mean, everyone did. This is just what you do. You smoke in the college dorm. Even the honors kids were doing it. It's crazy. So it's one of the first months of college, and I'm at this little get together at some other dude's dorm. I don't know who was there. I hardly remember these people, but there was one guy that's important, and that's my main man, Adam. We were smoking, drinking, doing all that, but there was hardly anything happening. It was like a 7-person get together just watching two guys play Call of Duty. So Adam and I are like, this is ass. We got to get out of here and make something happen. So the two of us leave the function. And the thing about this dude's place is it's on a different floor of the building than we lived on. The floor of the dorms that houses the dorm gym. For COVID reasons, this gym was locked and closed, so no one could use it. But we were in the honors dorms. We thought we could use our bright little heads to figure out a way in. There were 2 doors into the gym, and we noticed a difference between the 2. The part of the door with the latch had a little 1/2-inch opening on one door, while the other door had no space to work with. So we started trying different ways to open this door. One person would be on it while the other would look out. You already know, these honors kids, they would have narked if they had seen us, so we were on our toes. We were trying different ways to push this latch down so we could just open the door and get a little pump. We tried to push it down with our fingers. We tried the good old credit card trick, but nothing worked. Then Adam comes up with this genius idea. He takes out one of the laces from his shoe, throws one end around the latch, and basically has a little lasso around this thing. He pulls on it and it slides the latch down for a second before it goes back up. So we do it again, but as we pull the shoelace, we twist the knob and pull the door at the same time, and it opens. This moment was my peak. I don't think I've ever felt so accomplished and smart since. And I wasn't even the one who came up with the idea. So we get into this little dorm gym, and it feels so unreal. We're all giddy, running around the place. The scary thing though is that the automated lights turned on as we walked in there, but we thought we'd be fine as long as people didn't see us through the door. Before we start using the gym, we run back to my dorm and we come back with a paper towel and some tape. We fold up the paper towel so it's thick enough to be used as a door stopper, and we put some tape around it to keep it there. So we're in the gym getting the pump of a lifetime. You could say we were too high in the gym. Shout out out to myself. But after about 10 minutes, we start to hear the door open. There isn't supposed to be anyone able to get into this place. I mean, the doors were locked. And as the door opens, a janitor steps in for some reason. I don't know why he would clean this place. I mean, no one's been in here all semester, but a janitor just decides to walk in at this moment. The three of us lock eye contact for a second, and he's like, "How'd you guys get in here?" "Oh, you know, it was just unlocked, man." "Yeah, we saw the lights on and we just thought it must have opened up." He told us to get out, but I won't lie, I feel like we had a pretty convincing case on our side looking back on it. In the moment though, we didn't feel so confident. It may have been the weed talking, but we felt so paranoid that they would check the cameras or something and see us. Nothing ended up happening of it, and the little paper towel door stopper was still there, so the two of us essentially had created our own personal gym to use any time for the rest of the school year. Okay, that's the story. Bye! I am a freak of nature. I'm one of those psychotic monsters that just get up at 5:30 a.m., go to the gym for an hour, and when I get home, I just think about how much I want to be back at the gym for the rest of the day. I do this like 6 times per week, which can get to be a rigorous schedule, and after a while, can lead to some real burnout. And if burnout is ever affecting you too hard, well, boy, do I have something for you. Going to the gym high can be such a mixed bag depending on how high you are. Too high and you're just a slug that can't do anything. When you're not high enough, you just don't feel any different. But when you're just high enough, you feel like you have full control of every muscle fiber contraction in your body. This is when you're in the beast mode. Your focus is more acute than it has ever been in your life. By the time the next day comes, you can't get out of your bed. You just can't, you can't walk. Now, I've got a story that involves me and 2 of my good buddies, Cole and Roman. We all went to the gym high together. We smoked our weed, we dry scooped our pre-workout, we were all in the zone, cracked, completely accepting of the physical torment we were about to put our bodies through. We were at the highest level of human consciousness at this moment. We had reached full enlightenment. It was pull day, which means we had to work our biceps, our backs, and our forearms. At least that's what we planned on doing. So naturally, the first place you go is the pull-up bar to get some pull-ups in. When we got to the bar, Cole thought up a great idea. All right, guys, so I'm gonna do some pull-ups. Once I get off, someone else gets right on. When they get off, the next person gets on, and then it's back to me. We do this until we can't anymore, and the person that backs out last loses. So you'd think this wouldn't be very high stakes because there's no actual penalty besides losing. As soon as he mentioned this, I knew some real shit was about to go down at this pull-up bar because I just know these guys so well. You see, this little trio of friendship that we all have has been going on for about a decade now. If you've seen One Piece, it's like Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. The 3 of us are the most competitive fucks that I know. We had our pride on the line here. Cole jumps up and bangs out about 12 pull-ups. I jump on, I do about the same myself, and so does Roman. The second time around, we're a little weaker, but we're still going strong. We each can get out about like 6 to 8 pull-ups. Third time around, we're starting to get a little gassed. There's really no time for breaks between these sets, so we all can probably get around 3 or 4 at this time. After that, we're only getting 2 pull-ups in each for a few times around, and we add it all up, and we've done about 60 pull-ups at this time between the 3 of us. At this point, we are fried. All right, guys, we gotta make it to 100. We gotta make it to 100 pull-ups. We're almost there. We're at 60. We gotta push through. We can only do a single pull-up each before we pass it on to the next person at this point. So the time for resting has shrunken to the absolute minimum it can before somebody has to tap out. After an excruciating amount of pull-ups, we finally make it to 100 on Cole's turn. But then he stays on the bar. And after only doing a single pull-up per turn for the past like 5 turns, turns, he looks within himself and he finds the monster. He builds enough strength to bang out 2 pull-ups in 1 turn, putting us at a total of 101 pull-ups. All right, guys, we can't just leave it at 101. We gotta go to 110 pull-ups. At this point, we can't even do pull-ups completely. We just jump up and slowly go down, and then 110 comes. And by the time it does, whoever's on the bar just does another one and brings it to 111. And then we do that all the way to 120, and then we have to go to 130, and then that goes all the way up until in total, we had completed 203 total pull-ups between the 3 of us. This was the limit. We were all done at this point until we went to the dips, and then the whole thing started over again until we did 250 consecutive dips. And then we all proceeded to fucking die. I had never felt a workout this much in my life. And we went home only having done 2 exercises. And you know we had to get that post-workout Chipotle. When it's just right, weed just brings out the demon in me at the gym. Anyways, you better go to the gym right goddamn now. Bye-bye. What's up, boys? Got another video here at the end. Once again, is a thank you because we got 20,000 subscribers. It's been a long time coming to get to this point. Took us about 12 hours since the last thank you for 10K. So, here's another one. Subscribe. Once you enter the demon realm of young adult life, the dynamic of Halloween shifts from candy time to party time. But that is not a memo I accepted. I still wanted to go out and collect some candy booty. I didn't want any of that booty, you know what I mean? So during my freshman year of college as a dormitory resident, I had my eyes on a different prize than my colleagues. So I'm sitting in my dorm room alone on Halloween, dressed as Batman with a fire in me to make something funny happen. There's this girl that lives down the hall I kinda knew, so my plotting started with her. My awesome plan was to go to her dorm room door and trick or treat. I'd get a few laughs, maybe a piece of candy, and I'd call that a W. So I knock on the door like, I am Justice, trick or treat.
Oh my god, you're so funny. I've got just a thing for you.
She gives me a Skittles bag like,
Don't eat too many.
but I'm just popping off. I had been living impoverished off PB&J sandwiches the past month, so this was essentially gold. Before I leave, she adds,
I'm having a little get together in a minute, so if you want to come over, you can.
so I'm like, sure, I'll go over, knowing damn well I'm not going back to that place. I got my loot and that's all I wanted. I get back to my room and I'm snacking on these delights, probably watching Hunter x Hunter. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh damn, I'm really high right now. The fuck? On closer inspection, these were edible Skittles, but I mean, they hardly show it. I was like, why'd she give these to me? Honestly, I was fine with eating edibles since I didn't have anything better to do, but I just thought the situation was weird. So I go back to her room to see if she meant to give these to me, and as I knock on the door, she answers it like,
Oh my god, you came. Come on in, come on in.
I had forgotten she had a little get-together I was invited to, and I didn't want to be rude and leave, so I went in, and when I saw this place, this was not how I imagined her little get-together at all. It had to have been some kind of sorority party because there was like 10 girls essentially wearing lingerie, and then me dressed as Batman. They were drinking, playing games, and I'm completely out of my element and pretty high. I'm a married man. I can't be put in situations like this. So I'm like, yo, this party is epic. I'm gonna go get some water. I fill up my glass and just sit at the kitchen counter alone, trying to think of the quickest way to get out of here. I text the big man Adam to come to the door and get me out of here. I give him the room number and I say to just open the door and ask for Batman. But I didn't get a moment to see if he replied because this girl comes up to me and sits at the counter.
Hey, what are you doing over here?
And this is when I made a decision I look back on as highly questionable. I was new to college and I didn't want to taint my name so soon and be known as the Batman guy that sat alone at the party. So what I do is I go full Batman mode and protect my identity by speaking like Batman. I'm just thinking about criminals, you know. Haha, that's funny. You should come over and play games with us. It may have not been the best decision, but I ate a lot of those Skittles, and these people were drunk enough I could speak like Batman all I want without repercussions. This girl takes my arm, pulls me over to a beer pong setup, and hands me a ball. I didn't want to drink. I'm already zooted beyond belief, so I'm aiming between the cups so that the ball just hits the edge and bounces away. In this whole time, I'm just hoping that Adam got my text and would come through the door and save me. The more I miss, the more these people are chanting for me to get a ball in. Eventually, one of the balls land. I gotta drink it, and they're chanting for me to get more. So I do one more, and then they chant again for me to do one more. They just don't want me to stop drinking and getting these balls in the cups. I realized that this is just gonna keep happening forever, and I can't keep this up anymore. So I used the tried and true stalling method. I need to go to the bathroom. I check my phone to see if Adam's on the way, and I stand in this bathroom for like 5 minutes until I got out because I don't want to be in there for a suspiciously long time. I walk out and see the girl that invited me here. I walk up to her and I'm like, yo, did you know those Skittles were edibles?
Yeah, I know you like weed, so I thought you'd like that.
Huh. I guess that makes sense. Then all of a sudden, the door busts open. Adam is dressed as an Among Us and shouts, I need Batman! I'm like, duty calls. And the two of us sprint out of the party and back to my room laughing the entire way. Bruce Wayne was safe and back in the Batcave and could watch anime all he wanted without the distraction of sorority girls. I repaid Adam by giving him the rest of my Skittles and I passed out into a weed coma. Alright, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. I'm sure that you all, like me, love the great American outdoors. I can't get enough of the nice pine trees, the nice fresh air, and the lack of cops. But unfortunately, sometimes it be the common man who wishes to do you wrong, in addition to the government. And by the common man, I was done wrong upon on this very camping trip. Me, Adam, Roman, and Roderick wanted to do this big trip into the woods with weed and alcohol. So we planned to go camping at this place that's sort of far away from my house. Far enough away to act a pirate, to be alone and get fucked up at. So you have to drive out of town, up this mountain, and through plateaus and valleys and rivers to get there. But once you get to the top, it becomes a lot of campsites that overlook this really big canyon. We took Roderick's rinky-dink Toyota Matrix, and let me tell you, the gams on this baby, the gams, as in there were none. It took us like 2 hours to get to the top. This car was not built for 4 young, spry boys going uphill. Once we finally made it after sweating in this no AC heat box, there was this fucking tree blocking the road we wanted for the campsite. So we moved that shit, like bam, like out the motherfucking way, bitch, blunts in mouth. So we get done being hot and we throw this tree, pull the car along the road and make it to the campsite. It's all downhill to our left because the campsite washes out in the cliff drop. But we set up the tent and there's this beautifully constructed fire ring of high rocks that's right next to the edge. We set up the chairs and start working. Me and Roderick get the grate. Roman brought the skillet to rest on top. Adam starts rolling the yada yada, that sugar gabagool into the honey blunt, while my boy Roman gets the playlist bumping. We fry up eggs and bacon at like 9 at night and smother it in hot sauce and start drinking with dinner. We smash Coronas and we pass blunts for a little bit. Before long, the horror and reality of what we had just done began to set in. We had smothered a little too much and my stomach had really began to be a little fucking mad at me. One by one, we got hit by the shits in varying levels. Roman wound up throwing up because of his upset stomach. This unfortunately lasts a while, and I think the septic shock began to set in as we all felt absolutely feverish, from the shitting to the weed to the beers. Our grand night had hit a crash because I was just sacked out. But as I'm getting out of the tent at this time, I see what is clearly light coming from beyond the car. I'm at the tent, so I can't really see what it is from where I'm at. So I walk a little closer to see what it was. It's 5 flashlight beams walking in this cloud of light along the road. And if I wasn't gonna shit before, I was gonna shit myself now. No one in this group was saying anything. It was dead silent. They were coming along the road toward the campsite, and my heart is racing. But I try and be as quiet as I can as I get behind the tent. From From behind the tent, I whispered that I saw people with flashlights coming. Roman sits up from the ground and reaches for the car keys, and now we're all sitting up to notice the light all coming closer. The lights reach the car and pause at it. We can see the outlines of like 3 guys peering into the car, but Roman presses the panic button. Immediately, the place just explodes with sound, and in a flash second, those 3 dudes were sprinting away from the car and not coming back. If we had not already been traumatized, we had been by now by the actual fucking trauma. We got all our shit out of the car and packed it into the tent and stay awoke all night until dawn. I guess in hindsight, it would have been smarter to leave and drive away, but we're badass motherfuckers. We wished they'd come back. We were ready to fuck them up. Eventually, I'm not gonna lie, we passed out waiting. But around sunrise, I woke up and poked my little head out the tent, and I got out and walked towards the fire pit. I slumped in one of the chairs and watched the valley open as the sun floated over the canyon, and then I passed out again. I woke up like 3 hours later. We all got our stuff and got the fuck out of there. But what we noticed as we were getting into the car to leave is that there was a scratch. These dudes had, I guess, I don't know, keyed the car or something, or maybe it was a knife and they were gonna kill us all. Okay, that's the story. Bye. Moon rocks, aka THC Megazords, is allegedly the most dangerous and powerful devil's lettuce crafting ingredient humans can possibly create with our current technology. Moon rocks are the frontier of all weed advancements, and that if smoked will change the way you view weed for the rest of your life. At least that's how some people were hyping these things up to me before I tried them. So when I first heard about this, naturally the first thing I thought was, the fuck is a moon rock? And you'd think I would have found out after having smoked them, and I'm leading into an explanation, but to be honest, I still don't know. I mean, it's a little nugget, it looks like a rock, and it's really strong. That's all I know. Anyways, here's the story of the first time I smoked a moon rock. I was with my boys as per usual when the idea of moon rocks came up. None of us had actually ever done them before, so it would be all of our first times. But since it was our first times, we didn't have any. But for the most part, we're all big kids now, so a few of us drove down to the dispensary to pick some up. We walk in, ask the employees for moon rocks, and they didn't even know what we were talking about. How do you work at a dispensary and not know what the weed is? We left empty-handed and decided to take some Google searches to find out how to get these. After Google searching, can you get moon rocks at dispensary? We found out that they're actually extremely rare. Not just that, but they're actually illegal. Oh wait, that's talking about the shits from space. Never mind. We loaded up weed maps and found a dispensary that has them. Drove over there, and yeah. We get home, time to get high, baby. Let's go. The price for these things were really steep. It was like $80 a pop, but also the price only added to the group's collective curiosity. So me, Roman, Roderick, and Adam all gathered around this magic rock, marveling at its greatness. Damn, bro, it's beautiful. You really think this tiny rock can really be all that? I don't know, bro. I hear it's illegal. You can't have rocks from space like that, so it's gotta be strong. Roderick and Adam were already high going into this, so please pray for their souls. Cameron was also there, but as per usual, he didn't smoke, although he played the most important role in all of this, and that was giving me the information of what happened this night, because if not for him, I would have not remembered anything that happened to me to make this video. So we loaded up the thing, smoked the moon rocks, and almost instantly, you can feel that these things are strong. Off rip, each of us were feeling it quite adequately and splendiferously so. We did the usual goofing around and whatnot as you do when you're high. But all in all, the group was a little disappointed at this point. Yeah, we had a good high, but it wasn't quite the next level experience we were wanting. Considering the hype, we had expectations that this would change our lives and provide life lifelong financial freedom or something like that. But little did we know, moon rocks actually have a secret ability that doesn't activate until 15 minutes after being smoked. The high of the moon rocks just kept getting higher and higher for us. After some time, we'd all think, damn, alright, this is actually getting somewhere. And then it would just keep going and going and going. The moon rocks had no plateau. And I guess that's the appeal of them. That's probably why they're called moon rocks, yeah? But anyways, after letting the moon rocks cook, we finally got it. Roderick and Adam being high beforehand definitely made them more zooted than anyone else, because Roderick became completely non-verbal and just lied on the floor, being completely still, while Adam was feeling the texture of the walls going, yo, it feels so real, it feels so good. These two were like the hollows from Dark Souls, dead spirits roaming shallow levels of the astral world, relentless and tormented, clinging on to the last remaining bits of their lives. Me and Roman, we were just really high. Now, what I'm about to say will probably be really controversial and could even possibly ruin my career. But in this heightened state, Roman did the impossible and convinced me that the Ohio meme was actually funny. You know how something that becomes unfunny gets life again by becoming ironic? Well, through that irony, I came full circle to the conclusion that Ohio is funny. He kept pointing and saying, Ohio weed. And I hated it at first. I thought it sucked. I did not think it was a funny joke at all. But by the time he got to his 20th Ohio weed, he eventually broke me. And then he stood over my body as I fell on the ground and said, I control you now, you're mine. Then proceeded to point at things and do the Ohio meme. In hindsight, I kind of don't think he's remotely funny to me at all, but there's something impressive about the fact that he could bring a day's worth of longevity back to this joke. As for me, I felt like my body was made of the sticky part of Velcro and everything else was whatever you call the other end of Velcro. I jumped on this bed and got completely stuck to it and couldn't get off. But I had a TV and an Xbox at my disposal, and from there, those two simple items brought me something I could only compare to an enlightening and spiritual experience. I queued up some classic Fortnite, went to the creative maps, and attempted to beat Fortnite only up. This collectively brought everyone together to watch me fall off of the first 3 boxes over and over. But every time I would get one more jump on my run, it was unreal. Everyone would pop off. The way they reacted to my gameplay gave me an evil little idea to do some trolling. Naturally, the group conglomerate gets munchies and all charge towards the kitchen, except for me and Cameron. I had to use all of my willpower to not follow them because I had hella munchies as well. But I turned to Cameron and whispered, bro, open YouTube for me. I want to see somebody beat this. So we brought up a video as the boys came back, and as they saw these beautiful and excellent jumps being performed before their very eyes, the boys couldn't help but weep. They watched in awe as they thought I was truly beating this whole thing, and I gained loads of respect. You can imagine that next, we all just started watching YouTube and go zombie mode. So all in all, moon rocks are good and really strong and make you go hollow. So if that's what you really want, I recommend. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. Edibles are cheeky little buggers. You never know exactly what you'll get from them. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel nothing. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel everything. And sometimes you'll eat one, think you feel nothing. So you eat another and another until all you feel is pain everywhere. The trick is simply getting them from trustworthy sources and being a little patient with the gummy. But somehow this seems too hard for most people, myself included. I was neither patient nor safe this fateful afternoon, which made for my most intense edible experience ever. Now, this was back in high school, so getting from a reliable source isn't as easy as it is now. Instead of getting the edibles from a dispensary, you have to get them from Howard, a grade above you, that claims he definitely is the Heisenberg of edibles and can cook up the best stuff. It doesn't help that I was surely at the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger effect curve, where my confidence was at an all-time high with weed and my experience was very low. I was naive in the face of Howard's homemade edibles, so I bought a batch of them after school, took them home for the weekend, and prepared for an epic freaking time while I had the house to myself. You already know, before I ate these, I was showing them off to the boys. I was like, look at the fresh booty this young boy got his hands on. But I wasn't about wasting time. It was business time. It was time to eat the edibles. I started by just eating one of the 4 I had bought. And right from the moment it touched my tongue, I could taste just how weed infested these brownies were. But I got it down. Then with every passing second, I analyzed how I felt. And when you think about time that hard, it makes it feel like it passes way slower than it actually does. What feels like 30 minutes is actually 10, and what feels like a weak edible is actually a bombshell that hasn't gone off. So I thought, this one should have hit by now. I guess it's just weak. If this is how 1 feels, I can definitely take an extra 2. And we all know how this goes. As all of these edibles hit at once, my body is instantly, essentially paralyzed. I got the cotton mouth of a lifetime, which marked the only time in my life where I wanted water more than pussy, money, or weed. So I just lay here like, god damn, I didn't sign up for this. So I try and roll over to get my phone and text the boys group chat that I was on my deathbed. But my body couldn't roll over without me using 100% of my brain power to do so. As I picked up my phone, it felt insanely heavy. I had the 40-pound iPhone. The phone was just way too heavy for me to pick up, so I was left with one option. I couldn't text. I had to send a voice memo. Yo, guys, this shit is hitting for real. I think I need help. Send over the reinforcements to my place. I'm dying. Which was a pretty funny message to follow from the previous one. So once the message was out, so was I. My body shut down for I don't even know how long. But when I came back into consciousness, it was like I was viewing myself laying in the bed from a third-person view. This didn't last long though, because I got back to my body pretty quickly. But for a moment there, when I saw myself, I thought that I had died and I was leaving my body, but somehow I rationalized myself out of it and thought, there's no way I'm dying. I'm just on a lot of drugs. People always think they're gonna die when they're like this. I don't know how I was able to rationalize myself out of thinking I was dying considering how high I was, but I guess I'm just the GOAT. I can just do it. So I look over at my phone and I see that Roman is calling me. What's up, bro? Are you good, bro? Partially. Come over to my house though. So we came over with Cole and Adam, and as they rang the doorbell, I was faced with a real dilemma. Shit. How am I gonna let them into my house? So I tried to stand up, but instantly just fell on the ground. I had to crawl on the ground over to the stairs and I just fell down them. I was way too high. There was honestly no other way I could get down, but I was also so high I didn't feel pain from falling down the stairs, so it was all good. I unlocked the door still on the ground with my toes and then just kicked it as hard as I could to let them know they could come in. The 3 of them stood over my lifeless body and asked, "Bro, are you okay? How do you feel?" So I reached into my pocket and I pulled out the last brownie. "Boys, eat this. You'll know a fraction of what I've been through if you eat this, but I need water first." So I get my water, and surprisingly, the 3 of them just split the brownie and ate it like that. I guess high school boys are just that desperate they go feral at the sight of any free weed. I wanted to be transported to the couch, so I got picked up from my limbs and brought over to the most comfy couch I've ever felt. We turned on the TV and the first channel that was on was Paw Patrol. It was incomprehensible to me. Then I got some of the most devilish munchies in my life. So I postmated Chipotle. But at this time, the 3 of these boys were also starting to feel the munchies. Despite eating that small portion of the brownies, it was hitting them enough. So Adam was like, "Bro, I'm so hungry." And my high ass replied, "Oh, me too. Don't worry, I'm gonna get Postmates." And I ordered another Chipotle burrito for me and Adam, forgetting that I had ordered the Postmates prior. I guess the group of these 3 guys picked up on this, so they started to get me to order as much Postmates as they could. Once the burritos started coming in, I'm freaking out because I don't understand where all of these orders are coming from. I thought I had discovered a real life infinite food glitch because 4 different orders and 7 different different burritos were delivered to my house. But alas, it was just my friends sucking me dry of every cent I have. So we got all of our burritos, brought them in a big pile, we held our hands around the burritos, and we prayed for this meal. We prayed to God and thanked him for this bountiful feast we had. And with that, there were two extreme lessons I learned this night. Don't buy edibles from Howard, and don't trust your friends. They will try and get as many burritos out of you as they can. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Smoking the grass is unironically my career at this point. So you'd think I could hold my own against a little something something, right? But this New Year's, I had a man of very high stature and business class offer me some za from his world. And it was like nothing I had ever done up until that very moment. But like I said, it was New Year's. The whole gang was downtown following Roderick around like little baby ducks because he supposedly had a surprise for all of us. So once we all get to the square where the ball drop was going to happen, he leads us all into an office building and up this elevator. Are we even supposed to be here, dude? I don't care. I literally was not asking you. Bro, get me out, sus! Get me out! Gentlemen, trust me, we're good. Now collect yourselves and become presentable. We get to the top floor and step into this massive office building overlooking downtown. To my side, there's a table covered with tons of different drinks. Yo, what is this place? It's my parents' office, lads. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see him. It's big man Roderick's very own father. But he explains to the group that throughout the night, all of his lawyer and business friends would be coming through, and that we were all welcome to as many drinks as we wanted. So the boys go feral. Let's go! Hey, give me that. Thank you. You want my vape, bro? All right. Oh, God. I miss her. I miss her, bro. You know, sharing always makes me feel better. Do not fret. Cameron was the sober man that would be taking us all home this night. We were all being very responsible. So we all start opening the office windows and yell nonsense at random pedestrians. Before we know it, the place starts to fill with lawyers. The group breaks up, and in the presence of all of these high-value individuals, I taught some guy's wife how to floss. 10 p.m. was closely approaching, which meant that the first ball drop was about to happen before the real one at midnight. We all link up, look out the window, and despite this not even being the real New Year's celebration, the streets are filled with swarms of people. As we all marvel at this horde, we see a familiar face standing outside. It was our boy Tony. We need to go out there. So we all run down the stairwell and out the back exit, but as we left the door, we ran past one of the big dog lawyers that I had recognized seeing upstairs, and he was smoking something. So I made a mental note before joining the crowd. We gave Tony monumental greetings until ball drop time was about to happen. We all run to the center of the crowd, bust down excellent style for a few minutes until returning back to the lawyer office, stench and sweat covered from all of that bussing. Back up the elevator, I lead the squad into a small conference room and explain to them, boys, I think there's weed on the premises. I want to get my hands on it before the real New Year's event happens. So we start scouting around the office looking for the guy I had seen earlier. We ended up finding him still at the same spot prior, and as we walked out, the legend offered us some. So we all, minus Cameron, smoked with this lawyer, and before it really hit us, it was quite chill. So once we had our fun, it was back up to the office to devour the sandwich rolls and prepare for battle at midnight. Roman and Roderick start devouring every last crumb like savage berserkers, but I'm feeling a little differently. Yo, guys, that lawyer stuff is really hitting diff right now. How do you feel? I'm gonna go to that conference room again. So I'm sitting in the conference room alone. On the floor, I find a bunch of strings and start assorting them from longest to shortest. These two women walk into the room like,
What are you doing?
I'm playing with strings to stay alive. And that's all I remember out of that interaction. There was this dude that also came in as well, and he talked to me for like 5 minutes, but I have no memory of a word he said. Eventually, Cameron and Adam came into the room. Bro, we lost Roman and Roderick. Lamau. Do you need to go home, dude? Yeah. All right, bro, we'll try and call them. In about 18 phone calls where were made to Roman's phone and not one was answered. Cameron and Adam decided they'd face the New Year's storm out in the streets to look for the two while I stayed up in the office, so they moved out. It didn't take long for me to get bored of sitting in this conference room, so I get up and leave to look out the window and watch the ball drop from there. As I'm staring out this window, I eventually do see Roman and Roderick out there going crazy in the square. I watch them for a few minutes until Roderick walks away to get drinks from a bar or something. So Roman's out there all alone. Then there's this big middle-aged dude pushing his way through the crowd of people for I don't know why. Roman was in big man's trajectory, so once he eventually shoves Roman shoves him back. And then this dude punches Roman so hard that he falls to the ground and the police detain the unhinged big man. After seeing that, I thought, well, I should let them know I found Roman. So I walked down calling Cameron, telling him to meet me at the office entrance. As the both of us link, it's about a minute until New Year's, and everyone around us is going bananas, so we just stay put not to lose each other. Once midnight struck and the ball dropped, I just stared up into the sky completely unmoving and honestly feeling nothing. That za had me a stoic. So where's Roman? I lost him. Damn. Okay, well, I'm just gonna take you home, bro. You're clearly sloshed. I'll find them later. So my handsome little savior drives me back to my place. I get inside, and as I'm taking my stuff out of my pockets, I realized I still have Roderick's vape, but I didn't care and instantly passed out. And if you want to know what happened with Roman after this dude punched him and what went down once I left, you're gonna have to wait 3 months for when Roman makes his own video because I don't know what happened. Boo-hoo. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Greening out is allegedly worse than cutting off limbs. However, despite being the massive za head that I am, I've never actually experienced that climax. I've had friends go through it before my very eyes and seen the absolute destruction that befalls their now forever ruined bodies. But me, I've never had it happen to me until today, when my constant push for entertaining content ended up pushing me over the edge and greening out for the first time. The night started off normal enough. I was watching Diva twerk compilations, Ice Spice full view oiled up bust down 4K while off a few gummies as I do every night, when I had a thought come to me. I haven't left my bed in like a week. I need to get into some video material mischief right now or else I'm gonna felled off. So I took another 2 gummies and shot a text over to none other than the absolute legend Roderick himself. Bro, I need you to come over to my house this instant, please, please, please. All right, bro, I got you. I'll be there in a minute. Roderick pulled up instantly with his massive stature and Greek godlike appearance and was clutching none other than his epic weed in one hand and a bag of some yummies in the other. Shutting the door behind ourselves, I gave Roderick massive greetings into my humble abode, and seeing what he had brought, I knew exactly what was about to go down. So we sat on the couch and began to do our thing. We both ended up taking about 1,000,000 hits each before finally giving it a bit of a break. And let me tell you, at this point, I was already feeling higher than something that's really tall. Now scrolling YouTube, I saw a gym motivational video pop up in my recommended. I don't usually watch these types of things, but having been reading Vagabond and practicing the way of the samurai, I was feeling strong and in need of constant self-improvement. And being as high as I was, this seemed like exactly the thing that would push me beyond my human limits. We watched the whole thing in silence, but the raw emotion was louder than anything I've ever felt. The only noise we made was at the end, where we both let out mighty roars, ready to take on any foe. Bro, I need conflict! Hey, let's bust out the push-ups, why don't we, my brother? Come on, let's just get on the floor. As soon as we stood up, I found it really hard not to stumble around and realized there was no actual way for me to do anything. Neither of us were really able to move, and even if we did, we'd probably hurt ourselves. Okay, bro, I can't actually do this. Let's just watch people work out on the TV instead. Alright, dude, but the punishment for not working out right now is that we have to smoke more weed, which I gladly accepted. And in this very moment, I knew exactly what I had to do.
Bro.
Oh, yeah? I have to smoke endless weed and green out for views. It's what the people want. I have to persevere for those massive YouTube numbers. Us both finding this idea very funny, Roderick and I did a few more rotations of that smoky to really send ourselves flying. Finishing up this round, we decided it would probably be best if we got one other person in here to help me keep on my mission. So we decided to hit up our boy Cameron to come over and make sure we were able to keep focused. He eventually came over, and when we opened the door for him, we were nothing more than shells of our former selves. We had smoked ourselves into mere husks of who we used to be. But I was still talking coherent enough that Cameron knew his job wasn't complete. Hey, how's it going, lads? Not good. I don't think I can handle this anymore. I might have gone over my head for this one, dude. That's all right, bro. That's why I'm here. Think of the views, dude. Let the views motivate you. Just seeing Cameron's shining smile motivated me to go a little further. I took a few more hits, but not nearly enough to green out. But I was high enough to be brain dead. After a few minutes had passed, I heard another knock at my door. My first thought I had to myself was, oh, Cameron must have gotten here, forgetting he had arrived minutes ago. When I opened the door, it was actually some missionaries that had came from the church, inviting me to a local event they were hosting. I start to panic here. I couldn't even remember that Cameron had entered my house, so I knew I couldn't communicate with the missionaries. Oh, you guys, hey, come here, come over here. My words were bullshit, but sounded convincing enough to be real. I got Cameron to the door and ran away to hide. Oh yeah, Cameron already got here. He took care of those guys for me real good. The missionary encounter had shaken me up a bit and faltered my motivation visibly. I'm struggling here, my boy. You're gonna need to do something real moving to get me any further, Cameron. Then he did something I never expected him to do in my life. In an act of true selflessness and purity, he ate his first ever edible for my sake. Now that I'm gonna be high for the first time, boys, you gotta do this. Having witnessed such a manly and awesome moment, I now knew what had to be done. I wasn't gonna let anything stop me. Not even the dizziness that was absolutely beginning to obliterate me, just like I do to Ice Spice, could stop me. I took another gummy and took one last giant rip of the bong. And just like that, it was all over. My moment had finally come. After a few minutes, I began feeling the full effects. I was getting incredibly dizzy and nauseous. Standing became a near impossible task, and just the sound of Roderick and Cameron talking felt overstimulating and overly loud to the point I couldn't handle it. Honestly, this part gets kind of a little fuzzy in my mind, but I eventually managed to get carried upstairs to my bed, now unable to even get words out of my mouth. And in this instant, I immediately knew that I was just like Drake because I was out like a light. Anyways, if you've ever smoked, gotten high, and then realized, wait, what am I doing with myself? You know how it feels. Being high without purpose leads to intense and heavy despair. It's a hollowness only comparable to living in Tucson, Arizona. So to help you avoid hitting that existential dread, because after all, I am one of your best friends and I look after you, I've cooked up 50 very awesome thingies you can do while high. And there's a lot of obvious things you can do, so I'm gonna rapid fire a few, such as eating delicious food, drinking water, operating vehicles on busy streets, killing, listening to music, playing video games, going to school, drawing, playing with animals, causing problems, gambling your entire bank account on Tesla shorts and losing it all in an instant, so you have to leave your anatomy class early to cope with the loss. Watching YouTube. My personal favorite thing to do while high is brain rotting myself with meaningless media consumption. And YouTube is the best place to do that. There was a day recently where I was with my boy higher than you can imagine while surfing YouTube. After sifting through a few videos, we suddenly feasted our hungry little peepers upon the most absurd YouTube brain rot we had ever seen. Losing 200,000 calories in 50 hours. This video is brain rot levels I could only dream my channel could ever achieve. Going for a walk. Going on Discord and raiding creating one of those servers with tons of open chats.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Hey, are you doing e-sex? Are you doing e-sex, bro? You little e-sex haver? What would your father say? What would the big guy say if he saw you having a little e-sex? Come on, man. Going through your entire phone contacts and calling everyone. Riding a hoverboard. Riding a bike. Learning the gritty. Kissing your friends right now. Going to the gym. Do the sus machine. Work the hip abductors, bro. Put the shame aside and do it. It feels good. Go to the cemetery. Stare at the wall and try and figure out what color it is. Just spin as fast as you possibly can in a circle. Swim in a pool, sink to the bottom, and feel your weightless body drift around. Postmates a medium Coke from McDonald's, and make sure you choose the freestyle orange flavor. Trust me, the taste is so worth it. For the small price you have to pay, it's so worth it. Do more drugs. Make sure you come out of this different. Watch videos of kids crying on Call of Duty. Study the Quran. Play Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga for Nintendo DS. It's a personal favorite of mine. Run to the top of a parking garage. Pretend to be an NPC. Lord knows that wouldn't be hard for you. Stack every single item in your home into one big pile. Play the knife game. Listen to this song and think about your failures. Go to the gym again. Only the top 1% of men can do this. Hold a conversation with your mother. Think about how time seems to pass faster than you can realize it. And before you know, everything you cherish will be gone. Tweet at me here on Twitter. Only the top 1% of men can do this. Listen to cool sound effects. Watch the entirety of the 1-hour Wise Tree video. Learn to backflip. Shut off your residential electric grid. Run outside of your home and don't stop until you collapse. Punch a hole in your drywall. Shave your head. Invite over my friend Adam for Molly. You can reach him at the comments because he's always reading them. Start your next anabolic cycle. Remember the good times and miss her. Now for the big 5-0, the big 50, here we are. I want you to unleash the monster in your soul and go to the fucking gym. If none of these activities have tickled your fancy, I guess you just gotta be depressed and like sad, man. I'm sorry, I can only look out for you so much. That's unfortunate, but like, you know, yeah. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe. Bye. This was probably the least intelligent moment of my entire life. Unintentionally getting high for 3 consecutive days. This happened back when I lived with roommates. I had one roommate that would always buy those storage jars to put his food into. Unknowing to me, he had a jar of very special gummy bears that would sit on the kitchen counter in full view from anywhere in the living room. These special gummy bears, due to the jars he would put them in, were completely unmarked and proceeded to make me become an unknowing victim to their powers for the next 3 days. So I woke up at 5 a.m. like the champion beast trailblazer I am. I got my pre-workout and went out to drink it in the living room. This was when I first laid eyes on the gummy bear jar. I thought one little bear wouldn't hurt, so I eat it, drink the pre-workout, and drive to the gym. A little bit into my workout, I'm starting to feel sloshed. Damn, the pre-workout really hitting today. Sheesh, I feel like Charizard. But then it starts to get worse. I'm doing these curls like 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 6. I just can't count correctly. My mind is all scattered. I started to realize something was really off when I got on the treadmill and ran 3 miles without feeling a shred of fatigue. I was just in a mental trance the entire time I ran. I go into the locker room, and while I sit here finally with a moment to myself, I realize I probably should not drive myself home. I had to wake up the boy Roman to pick me up and also bring someone else to take my car back because I felt crazy. He pulls up with Cameron and the operation is followed through. Are you alright, man? Yeah, I just feel different, but not bad. We get home and I've got a Zoom class to attend in about an hour. As I'm walking to my room, I pass the gummy bears and eat another one. While I wait for my class, I remember just sitting in my chair, staring at my PC, doing nothing like a zombie. I was trying to mentally will myself into being functional for this class, but since I ate the other gummy bear as I entered my room, it just got worse. I sat in this class just staring at myself in this little Zoom camera window. The teacher even called on me at one point, but I just kept staring. I didn't say a word. It may have been from me being so high I couldn't process what was happening, but there was not a word spoken from me. I woke up this day pretty tired from the high of yesterday, but I still hadn't put 2 and 2 together and realized the bears were edibles. I had an in-person class today to attend, so I left for that pretty early and again ate a gummy on my way out. The gummy hit as I was walking to class and I was like, God damn it, not again, what's happening to me? I keep walking to class because God picks his hardest fights for his strongest soldiers, until I realize I have no idea where I'm at. A few wrong turns had been made without me realizing it, and now I gotta figure out how to get back. I probably walk around these neighborhoods for like 30 minutes just trying to find my way back on track to get to class. But then I remember, oh yeah, I got a phone, I can use this. So I maps my way back to campus, but I had not made the calculations required to know by the time I got there, the class would be over. I walk into the lecture room that would be my class, and there's a whole different teacher in class going on that I attend thinking, nah, this has got to be the same class. I bet this is just a substitute. The class ends and I'm still oblivious to the fact that that was not the lecture I was meant to be in. An email pops up on my phone about my absence, and I remember replying to the email just saying not true and then walking all the way home. I had homework to do, but as I sat down to do it, I was like, yo, the teacher did not teach us this today. So I just played Elden Ring for the next 8 hours of the day. All this weed I had been consuming kind of messed up my sleep schedule because I woke up this day a good amount later than usual. So when I walked into the living room, my roommates were all awake and out there. I was like, guys, that thing keeps happening to me. I think I gotta go to the doctors today. Something's just not right with my body or something. I reach in and eat another gummy while I'm out here, but this time in full view of all my roommates. Roman's like, bro, you're really gonna eat an edible this early in the day? And just like that, all of the stars aligned in my head. I had been drugging myself on these gummy bears unintentionally for the past 3 days. So you're telling me that those are edibles? I've been eating those every single day recently. Then everyone just erupts to clown on me. These dudes couldn't act right. They're like, oh my fucking god, this dude's a dumbass. So I run into my room in tears and listen to Heartless by Kanye West. I hate my friends. Alright, that's the story. You know the drill. Bye!